The reason people love our show is simple: it deals with real problems everyone can relate to, but we do it in a way that is funny and human. Viewers enjoy watching how we handle everyday challenges and the mistakes we make along the way. Josh Harris, once known as the golden boy of Deadliest Catch, had a life that seemed destined for greatness. He was the son of legendary Captain Phil Harris and for years seemed unstoppable. Josh captained the Cornelia Marie, earned millions of fans, and appeared to have everything in his grasp. But in September 2022, his life changed completely. Discovery Channel fired him suddenly, and within 48 hours, his online presence vanished. They edited him out of shows and deleted references to him from over 10 episodes. His net worth dropped from $4 million to under $1 million almost instantly. Fans were shocked and wondered what could have happened behind the scenes that led Discovery to erase him entirely. The truth, however, goes back decades, to the very beginning of his life. Josh Harris was born on March 7, 1980, in Seattle, and from a very young age, life felt heavy for him. He grew up near the tough world of commercial fishing, where his father, Phil Harris, spent long months battling the rough waters of the Bering Sea. While Phil was away, Josh stayed home with his mother, watching her struggle with the pressures of raising a family alone. By the age of 5, he had witnessed countless arguments between his parents, fights sparked by unpaid bills, long absences at sea, and the constant sense that the ocean always came first. These moments forced him to grow up quickly. He learned to take care of himself, to stay silent during tense moments, and to keep his fears hidden. Despite the chaos at home, Josh admired his father's stories about the sea. Phil's adventures were thrilling, even terrifying, and they left a mark on Josh that stayed with him for years. By 1988, when Josh was 8, things at home became even more difficult. Phil had accumulated gambling debts, and the family had to leave their house, moving into a small apartment near the shipyards. The new place smelled of salt, diesel, and metal, and every day reminded Josh that life could change overnight. While other kids went to school without worry, Josh often slipped down to the docks, watching the boats and mimicking the movements of the fishermen. Using simple ropes and tools he found, he practiced setting up crab pots and other fishing equipment. Those early mornings by the water awakened something inside him. School seemed distant and irrelevant compared to the lessons he was learning on the docks. The rhythm of the tides, the smell of the sea, and the physical labor felt like home. The ocean was calling him long before he fully understood why. By the age of 12, Josh was taking on small jobs to make money. He gutted salmon on the docks, his hands freezing, his clothes soaked from the rain, and the wind cutting across his face. The work was brutal, especially for a child, but it taught him an important lesson: nothing in life came easily. The long, exhausting shifts built his strength, resilience, and determination. He began to understand both the dangers and the rewards of the fishing life. Each day was a test, and he learned to endure pain and discomfort while keeping focus. In 1993, when Josh was just 13, he started his first real season on the Aleutian Ballad, a 105-foot crab boat under his father, Phil. This was no easy start. It was a trial meant to test him like an adult. Shifts stretched up to 18 hours, lines were heavy and dangerous, and the work left his hands bleeding. Phil offered no special treatment. He demanded that Josh stay focused, be strong, and prove himself through action. By the end of that first trip, Josh had earned the respect of the crew. He came home exhausted, sore, but proud. That voyage created a bond between him and the ocean, a bond built on endurance, pain, and the thrill of surviving in a harsh world. 2 years later, in 1995, the ocean tested him in a different way. Josh was 15 and working on deck when a rogue wave hit the Aleutian Ballad off the Washington coast. The wave was so powerful that ropes snapped like twigs, and the boat tilted dangerously. Josh was thrown against a railing, leaving a scar on his forearm that would stay with him for life. The crew managed to stabilize the boat, and no official report was filed. It remained one of those hidden moments of danger that only the men on board remembered. That day taught Josh to respect the ocean's unpredictability and reminded him how quickly calm waters could become deadly. By the age of 16, in 1996, Josh made a decision that many adults would fear. He dropped out of high school to dedicate himself fully to fishing. He joined smaller boats in the Bering Sea and absorbed every skill he could, from emergency drills to deck procedures under extreme pressure. During one storm that season, he watched as 2 nearby ships sank, a sobering reminder that each trip could be the last. Despite the dangers, Josh kept showing up. Slowly, he built a reputation as a reliable and skilled worker during chaos. He became someone other fishermen could trust when the waves grew violent and the situation seemed impossible. In 1997, at 17, he entered the grueling Opilio crab run. Temperatures dropped below zero, and crab pots weighing hundreds of pounds had to be hauled overboard repeatedly. Josh lifted around 200 pots over the course of the season. Each day, his muscles burned, his hands blistered, and his body screamed for rest. But at the end of that season, he earned his first $10,000 paycheck. For a young man still figuring out life, that money felt extraordinary. Even more significant was his growing role next to his father. He had become Phil's right hand on the deck, proving himself through effort, grit, and determination. That same year, Josh tried something unexpected. During a brief break, he entered a local skateboarding competition in Seattle and placed third. The thrill of speed and movement on pavement was exciting, but soon he felt the sea calling again. Skateboarding gave him a brief spark, but fishing gave him purpose. Within weeks, he returned to the water, more focused than ever. By 1998, at 18, Josh's responsibilities grew further. He co-captained a smaller vessel during the red crab season. Ice floes jammed engines, and delays threatened the crew's safety. Nights became freezing marathons of problem-solving. Josh stayed calm through it all. His steady leadership allowed the crew to push through obstacles, and for the first time, he received recognition in a trade newsletter. Older fishermen noticed his ability to manage pressure with a young mind. It was rare, and they respected it. The late 1990s brought further challenges. Phil became ill due to severe smoking-related health issues, and Josh had to step up again. At 19, during the 2000 King Crab Derby, he led significant parts of the Cornelia Marie's operations. He introduced a new bait strategy using more local fish, which increased their catch by almost 20%. Crew members got more rest thanks to a rotation system Josh implemented. His ideas and discipline improved the boat's efficiency. For the first time, Josh was not just filling in for his father, he was leading in his own right. By 2001, at 21, he took full command of a day charter off the Alaskan coast. A sudden squall hit, rocking the boat and throwing waves over the deck. While the crew panicked, Josh stayed calm and focused. When they reached safety, a celebrity guest praised him publicly, describing the experience as terrifying yet impressive. Discovery Channel heard about the incident, and Josh unknowingly took a step closer to the show that would change his life forever. In 2002, at 22, he took another significant risk. He used his own savings to upgrade the Cornelia Marie's radar system. It was expensive, untested, and some crew members thought it unnecessary, but Josh insisted, remembering a close call in heavy fog. Months later, the radar detected an approaching vessel that no one else could see. His quick response prevented a collision and likely saved lives. Phil praised him at a banquet, calling it the smartest move they had made in years. The upgrade raised safety standards for the entire fleet and cemented Josh's reputation as a smart, capable leader. In 2003, Josh explored a creative side of himself. He took 3 months away from the water to record demo songs in Seattle. 6 tracks were recorded, and a few were played on local radio. The response was mild, and Josh realized that while he could experiment, the sea remained the most important part of his life. He returned to fishing with a clearer mind and a stronger sense of identity. Josh first appeared on Deadliest Catch in 2005 at 25. The moment he stepped on screen, it felt as though the Bering Sea had chosen him as its storyteller. He worked as a deckhand on the Cornelia Marie, and one early scene captured him standing on deck while a 35-foot swell rose like a living wall. His raw shock, nervous laughter, and cautious bracing were unforgettable. That unplanned moment aired in June 2005 and helped build his early fan base. Viewers felt they were seeing a young man facing a world that did not care how scared he was. The next year, 2006, brought even more challenges. The Cornelia Marie crew struggled under the exhaustion and pressure of non-stop crab fishing. Josh had learned to endure the harshest conditions and lead under extreme stress. Each challenge, each storm, and each high wave shaped him into the fisherman the world would come to know. There was a lot of tension on the Cornelia Marie 1 season. Some crew members were talking about mutiny. Voices rose, tempers flared, and the situation could have turned dangerous. Josh was only 26 at the time, but he stepped into the middle of the chaos. Instead of yelling or trying to fight, he told the crew a story about his father, Phil, and how he had watched Phil collapse under stress many times. Sharing that memory calmed everyone on deck. When the episode aired later that year, editors focused on that moment. More than 2.3 million people watched, and many viewers said it made the Harris family feel human rather than just heroic. It was a rare glimpse of Josh's heart, showing that he led with empathy as well as strength. By 2008, Josh was 28 and beginning to find his own rhythm on the show. Season 4 aired in May, and something incredible happened. Josh pulled in a record-breaking half of a 200-pound palea crab in a single pot. Discovery Channel replayed the footage and promos multiple times because it was dramatic, loud, and chaotic. Fans couldn't get enough, replaying it online for years. The episode aired on May 19, 2008, and almost 2.7 million people tuned in. Josh later said this was the moment his confidence truly switched on. Fans began calling him the next generation captain long before he officially earned the title. In 2009, his bond with fellow fisherman Jake Anderson became a fan favorite. They connected over their shared experiences, talking openly about leaving their families behind for nearly 90 days at a time. Their conversations aired in July, watched by more than 2.5 million viewers. They spoke about Phil Harris, who was still alive then, and how he had influenced their lives. Their honesty surprised everyone because reality TV rarely showed men discussing fear, responsibility, and balance. That episode became iconic, and Discovery Channel later made it into a special segment because of how relatable it was. Everything changed in 2010. Before Phil passed away, Josh earned his first real paycheck from the show, $50,000 for a season. He used it to buy a home in Seattle, a way to anchor himself and create stability in a life that had often been unpredictable. By this point, Deadliest Catch was drawing over 3 million viewers per episode, so Josh's rise happened in front of a massive audience. Interviews often noted that the income gave him a foothold in adulthood, a sense of control that had been missing for much of his early life. Then came the darkest moment of his life. On January 29, 2010, Phil Harris suffered a massive stroke on St. Paul Island. The crew found him on the floor, unable to move or speak. He was airlifted to Anchorage and placed in a medically induced coma for 2 days. Although there were some small signs of improvement, Phil suddenly passed away on February 9, 2010, at the age of 53 due to an intracranial hemorrhage. Season 6 of the show captured the events in real time. Episode 10 documented the stroke, and Episode 14, called Redemption Day, showed the grief that followed. Fans were stunned. The Harris story shifted from one of strength to one of loss, and Josh, now 30, had to step into a leadership role not just as a son but as co-owner of the Cornelia Marie. In 2011, a violent storm nearly destroyed the Cornelia Marie. Repairs would cost more than $200,000, and the boat was at risk of being auctioned. Josh pulled investors together, selling portions of ownership to save the vessel. Season 7 documented these challenges, showing fans Josh making decisions with real risk behind them for the first time. That season also included a terrifying mechanical failure in the middle of the Bering Sea. Winds reached 40 knots, the boat was stuck, and the crew was stranded for 48 hours. Josh had to ration food and fuel while waiting for help. The cameras captured every tense moment, and it became one of the most talked about episodes of the show, showing viewers the unpredictability and danger of life at sea. In 2012, Josh honored his father by naming their largest quota Phil's Legacy Haul. That season, the crew caught enough crab to earn $1.2 million, clearing the boat's debts and funding a fishing scholarship in Phil's name at a Washington school. Fans loved it, seeing grief transformed into a way to help others start a life on the water. By 2013, however, the weight of grief, stress, and responsibility started to take a toll on Josh. He turned to alcohol to cope and eventually entered rehab. He returned stronger for season 10 in 2014. His honesty about struggling with addiction resonated with fans, making them feel like they were watching not just a captain but a human being working to heal himself. That same year, at 34, Josh introduced drone scouting during crab season. The drones reduced search time by almost 40% and boosted catch yields by about 15%. The maritime community noticed, and a maritime association gave him an Innovation Award. By the end of 2014, the Cornelia Marie was the first vessel on the show using drones this way, and some experts said it could change the future of commercial crabbing. In 2016, the ice season became unforgettable when a greenhorn fell overboard into the freezing Bering Sea at night. Josh led the rescue, pulled the man back onto the boat, and kept him alive with heated blankets until the Coast Guard arrived. Season 12 aired that moment, and ratings jumped by 20%. Safety officials praised the crew's handling of the hypothermia emergency, prompting other boats to update their procedures. In 2018, Josh focused on eco-friendly bait sourcing in collaboration with Discovery's Green Initiative. He reduced the boat's waste by 30% through sustainable bait and improved recycling practices. Sponsors and environmental groups took notice, and his actions shifted how people perceived commercial crabbing. In 2019, he faced a tense quota battle during the King Crab Derby. Through skillful negotiation, he secured an extra 50,000 pounds of quota in a year with strict limits. That extra catch meant significant income for his crew and more dramatic content for the show. By 2020, Josh was invited to speak at a major maritime conference in Seattle. He spoke about safety and innovation, drawing lessons from over 150 episodes of Deadliest Catch. Behind the scenes, rival captains tried to lure his best deckhands away with high offers, but Josh kept them loyal by raising pay and improving working conditions. This showed just how competitive the industry becomes when a captain rises too quickly. But Josh's past did not disappear. In July 1998, when he was 18, a family gathering in Kodiak ended in scandal. He was accused of sexually assaulting a 4-year-old neighbor's daughter. The family did not report it immediately. Months later, forensic tests revealed DNA evidence linking Josh to the crime. He was arrested in 1999 at age 19, shocking the fishing community. Phil Harris, already well known, watched the news spread quietly but quickly. Josh went to trial later that year, pleading guilty to lesser charges of 4th-degree assault and immoral communication with a minor. He was sentenced to 9 months of house arrest under his father's supervision, along with weekly therapy sessions, no contact with minors, and regular reporting to authorities. He violated the rules multiple times, sparking debate in Kodiak over whether the sentence was too light. He avoided prison, but the impact on his life and reputation was significant. In 2000, the victim's family filed a civil case seeking restitution to cover counseling and trauma care. The court ordered Josh to pay $15,000 through a family trust. This payment was kept private. Locals later said Phil monitored Josh closely after the case to keep him in line. While secrecy protected the family's name at the time, the victim's family felt ignored and unsupported. These past events resurfaced in 2022, reshaping public perception of Josh's rise on television. By the time he became a star on Deadliest Catch, he had already faced enormous personal challenges. Everything viewers saw on screen came layered on top of years of hardship, mistakes, and risk. In mid-2015, during season 11, producers even asked him to film a staged fight scene with his crew, further blurring the line between real tension and television drama. It may have sounded simple to the producers, but to Josh, it wasn't. They asked him to film a staged fight scene with his crew, and it felt too close to the real chaos he had lived through in 1998 when he was accused of assaulting a minor. The request hit a place he didn't want reopened. He refused. That refusal quickly made the set uncomfortable. Discovery insiders later said they had to edit large parts of the season to hide how intense the disagreement really was. They shaped it to look like normal show drama instead of a genuine standoff. Josh left that season feeling like his past had been turned into a cheap television moment, and the strain between him and the production team lasted for years. Court records show that back in 1998, he had pleaded guilty to lesser charges of assault and immoral communication with a minor. He served 9 months and went through a psychosexual evaluation before his release. That part of his life never truly left him, even when the cameras pretended everything was fine. Things got worse in 2017. Out of nowhere, his boat insurance jumped by 25%. Underwriters had discovered the 1998 conviction he had never disclosed. To them, he was high risk. To Josh, it felt like another wall rising in front of him. At the same time, the crab business was declining. He had to co-sign loans with partners just to keep the Cornelia Marie afloat. Regulators were scrutinizing them, crab prices were falling, and the boat needed upgrades he couldn't afford. Every new cost weighed heavily on him and later showed in how his vessel started falling behind newer, better-equipped competitors. By 2019, tensions with Jake Anderson, a fellow captain and longtime friend, boiled over. Their history had always been complicated, but that year it erupted. A dockside argument became physical. Witnesses reported shouting, shoving, and threats, all tied to disagreements about boat shares and deeper family secrets connected to the old 1998 case. A short clip was captured on a phone and spread through fishing forums. Jake didn't comment, and fans speculated. Many believed the fight was connected to long-buried issues between the Harris and Anderson families. The tension lingered long after the incident, coloring their interactions for months. Then came season 16 in 2020. For the first time on camera, Josh admitted that he had been struggling with therapy relapses. He spoke honestly about the pressure of carrying his father's legacy, the weight of his own mistakes, and the trauma from 1998, all of which sometimes broke him down. He shared how he would drift in and out of sleep, feeling fear in the very hours he was expected to be strong. In December 2020, he wrote that the trauma made him feel as though he was constantly navigating a storm, trying to stay careful and present. Producers said his honesty made him feel more human to viewers, but it also exposed wounds he had been running from for years. Those struggles followed him into 2022, when the resurfaced allegations became too heavy for Discovery to ignore. Anonymous posts and leaked documents about the 1998 case began circulating online. Forums dissected every detail, and tabloids amplified the story. People demanded answers. Josh tried to respond with smiling family photos and positive messages, but it didn't stop the spread. Publications like OK Magazine confirmed the old conviction through public records, and Discovery acted swiftly. He insisted he was innocent, but the court papers reminded everyone he had pleaded guilty and served 9 months. The online conversation turned sharp and stayed sharp. On September 7, 2022, Discovery fired him. They acted quickly, within 48 hours of a viral article. Their statement was brief: they had become aware of the issue and Josh would no longer appear in future episodes. They removed his profile, his bio, and his name from all their platforms. Fans were stunned. Josh had appeared in nearly 200 episodes and had been one of the faces of the show. Some people said the move was overdue, others felt Discovery was acting to protect its image. Regardless, his past was now in the public eye again, and there was no way to escape it. Season 19 brought even more changes. Discovery removed him from more than 10 episodes, edited out shots, cut lines, and even dubbed over some scenes with other voices. Fans immediately noticed the awkward edits. The premiere's viewership dropped by 15%. By the end of season 18, the Cornelia Marie was removed from the show entirely. It felt as though Discovery wanted to erase the Harris name completely. Longtime viewers felt betrayed, questioning whether the show could remain authentic without the people who had shaped it for years. In 2023, after being cut from the industry he knew best, Josh tried to make a comeback on his own. He captained an unregistered vessel in an attempt to rebuild outside the system, but the Coast Guard quickly intervened and shut it down, issuing $50,000 in fines. His contract with Discovery allowed retroactive termination for past convictions. When he tried to appeal on privacy grounds, the courts rejected him, citing public records. By late 2023, the financial consequences caught up. His net worth, once around $4 million, fell below $1 million. Legal fees, fines, and the fallout weighed heavily. He sold his Seattle home, advocacy groups pushed boycotts, income streams dried up, and his career effectively ended. His reputation was shredded, and he faded into the background. Still, Josh tried again. In 2024, he quietly launched a podcast called Salt and Ethics, focused on fishing morals and sustainable practices. Surprisingly, it gained about 10,000 downloads in its first month. But calm didn't last. 2 guest hosts walked off after discovering his 1999 arrest for attempting to take a minor across state lines. Records from 2002 showed that Discovery had once quietly cut ties with him, then later reinstated him. Advocacy groups were angered, and the podcast avoided direct discussion or apology, making it seem like an image repair effort rather than true accountability. In early 2025, Josh took another bold step. He filed a $2 million lawsuit against Discovery, claiming he had been treated unfairly because other captains with past DUI cases were reinstated while he was barred after his 1999 arrest. He cited examples from 2020 and 2021 involving Wild Bill Witrowski and Sig Hansen, arguing that the 2022 contract renegotiation had cost him millions in earnings and sponsorships. The case remains open, and insiders say that if internal memos are released, the fallout could be significant for both sides. Through all of this, Josh worked to reconnect with his children. In 2024, he began therapy focused on fatherhood, guided by a family counselor. Private letters later leaked online, revealing how he spoke to his children about growing up as a captain's son and the lessons learned from his father, Phil. His daughters shared moments where he recounted childhood stories, showing both the weight of Phil's death in 2010 and how it had shaped his choices. Rebuilding trust was slow and deliberate, but he persisted. By November 2025, Josh Harris was captaining a small charter operation off Washington. He avoided Alaska due to legal concerns. His charters attracted local anglers, mixing curiosity and controversy. Rumors began circulating that he was close to signing a memoir deal. If true, the book could cover everything from the 1999 incident to his 2025 lawsuit. Insiders suggested the advance could reach 6 figures, with a planned release in late 2026, pending legal clearances. Some fans were eager to hear his side of the story, while Discovery executives remained cautious, hoping his past would stay buried.